I don't think we really often have a real good sense of how Jesus lived his life during his 3.5 years of ministry from age 30 to age 33 when he went to the cross. This guy was not upstanding. He hung out with prostitutes, he hung out with tax collectors, he had no job, he slept outside, just like the homeless people have their camps. Jesus slept outside all the time. This guy was like one with the earth. I mean, no one ever thinks about the fact that he was like one with nature. He was like one with the earth, man. Like, that's all you can say to the sea when it was storming, peace be still, because he was like one with that stuff. He was totally in harmony with his father's creation and with his own creation. I mean, this guy was a total deviant according to modern day standards. He had no job. He was a carpenter at first, but he gave that up to do ministry. And he had no job. He had no house. He had no place to call home. He was a total itinerant preacher. The only reason why people were so in love with Jesus Christ is because he was so authentically himself that his power was off the charts. So he was so powerful in his love that you couldn't mistake his uniqueness. But if you looked at like just on paper how he lived, he was a total deviant, man. This guy lived like what we would call a bum in today's society. And we don't want to acknowledge that in our society. We want to put him on a cross and make them all thin and anorexic, and that's the end of it. But really, when we think about it, this guy was truly living an itinerant preacher's lifestyle. He was truly hanging out with the most rejected and isolated of people in society. And he himself was an outcast. Now, he was a powerful outcast, and everyone was intrigued by him. And in the end, going into Jerusalem, he was a popular outcast. But just like the prophets before him, he did not fit in at all. And he felt it. So let's not get it twisted. Jesus Christ is not the source of our conformity. He's the source of our transcendence. We don't conform because of Jesus Christ. To me, that's making a mockery of his life. Because his life was about anything but conformity. His life was about being true to the scriptures that he read about himself and being true to the love of his father and his mother who created him and who begot him. That was what his life was about. His life was never about whether you conform to this world's mores and norms. In fact, his apostles said that friendship with the world was enmity against God. And John said the world was lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. Jesus Christ negated all those things by choosing to be homeless and unemployed. And guess what? As a homeless and unemployed man, Jesus took care of his mother and his younger siblings. This is how much of a G Jesus was. As a homeless, unemployed, itinerant preacher, Jesus was so resourceful in his abundance that he took care of his mother and his younger siblings from that station in society. Jesus blows it all up, guys. He blows up all of our vain constructs. And he says to us, in my eyes, you're naked children. You have nothing to offer me but yourselves. So give me yourself. That's what he says. Because all the other stuff we have, it's all going to be rocks and dirt in 200 years. and none of it will matter. All that will matter is what we did to glorify God and to make love real. That's all that will matter in the afterlife, and that's all that will matter in the earth when we come into the millennial age and the Aquarian age. So Jesus Christ was not about keeping up with the Joneses. Not at all. He was free of all that stuff. That's part of what made him so powerful. If only we could get a glimpse or a moment of the freedom that Christ walked in, even though he was afflicted his whole life. This man's ironies were incredible. He was a man of irony, suffering, and joy all at the same time. He was a paradox. He was a living paradox. He was a living mystery, and still is. And that's why we love him so much. Because he tells us, all this crap that you're caught up in, you don't have to stay caught up in it forever. I've prepared a way for you. I've led the way. And I've secured eternal life. And after a while, you won't care that you sucked at basketball when you were 9 years old. All right. This is Captain Kirk, signing off. Peace out, Premier. Take me out with the fader.